And Mark Tukes and Chris Renaud needs to do that if Canada is going to advance into the finals of the medley relay. There are no semifinals in the relay. You just got to put all three heats together, compare the times, and the fastest 8 will advance to the final. The women just snuck into the final. The men are going to try to do the same.
It's the Hungarians leading the way to the changeover to the breaststroke. Canadians sitting in about 5th position right now. Coming into the water for Canada, Morgan Knabe.
And Morgan Knabe touched at the relay takeover. He cut it very, very close. I think it was okay and legal. I haven't seen any of the officials mention anything, but he did cut it very close. But that's what Canada's doing, is they're pushing the envelope a little here to make sure they advance to the final. This is a relay Canada had great success with over the years, medaling for about 6 Olympiads in a row. However, last Olympics in Atlanta, they did not advance to the final. They'd like to reverse that trend.
They'll flip over at the wall, and the breaststrokers will have less than 50 meters to go in their portion of this men's 4x100 medley relay.
And Morgan Knabe from Edmonton, now training at the National Sports Center in Calgary, who made the final in his individual event, the 100-meter breaststroke. So he is one of the top 8 in the world, and he's showing that by bringing the Canadian team to the front. Very, very interesting. The Russian Federation is laboring a bit. Their best time was way better than the Canadians coming in. They're in lane 4 in the middle, but they're behind.
Hungarians continue to lead. The Canadians sitting in 2nd place. Once Knabe touches, Shamek Piatua will come in on the fly for Canada. The Hungarians still lead, but Piatua quite capable of giving Canada a lead, and he's done just that.
Well, he's got to get out nice and strong from Edmonton, also training down in Calgary, planning to attend med school as soon as he gets back from traveling around Australia after these Olympics. He's been a little bit off in his individual events, so maybe this is the relay that'll bring him back to form, because he's a very good butterflyer. He picked up a couple medals at the Pan Ams for Canada in the butterfly.
Piatua off the wall, but the Hungarians are still in front. 2:21.44 the split.
And this is a surprise. The best times by the countries are seated, and they're put in different lanes, and the fastest swimmers, fastest teams are in lane 4, and they fan out alternately on both sides of lane 4. So down in lane 7 for Hungary, they had a very slow time coming in, but boy, they're swimming way above that.
Hungarians leading. Esposito is now challenging Shamek Piatua on the fly. Once Piatua hits the wall, that'll bring in the Canadian anchor, Yannick Lupien, for 100 meters of free.
And Yannick Lupien was a little bit off his Canadian record in the 100-meter freestyle, so he'll be looking to try to get a split under the 50-second barrier if he possibly can. If Canada could finish 2nd in this heat, it would almost guarantee them a berth into the final. 3rd will make it a little bit tighter, and 4th, as the Swedish team in lane 3 starts challenging, would put them in a very precarious position to advance.
Nystrand is in the water for the Swedes. He's a very good freestyler. It is Yannick Lupien in the water for Canada. Everybody trying to catch the Hungarians swimming in lane 7.
And Yannick Lupien looks like he might be able to beat the French team that is right next to him. However, here come the Russians as well. This is going to be very close. Canada's got to try to finish in the top 2 or 3 with a good chance to advance.
This is going to be a great finish as they drive to the wall. The Hungarians win it, 3:38.58. The French are 2nd, 3:43.1. And Canada is 3rd with a time of 3:40.56. 4th place to the Russians, 5th to the Swedes.
And that's going to put Canada right on the bubble in 3rd spot in this heat. 3:40.5. They felt going under 3:40 would put them into the final for sure. So going right on 3:40 is putting them on the bubble. As we said, their 3rd spot in this heat with 2 heats to go. They could easily end up 9th, but they might get lucky and advance to 8th or 7th and get into the final. That's what happened to the women. They were in a fast heat, thought they weren't going to make it, and the last heat was a slow one, and they snuck into the final.
Please welcome now the teams taking part.
Great swim from the Hungarians, but a pretty good swim from the Canadians. Chris Renaud, Morgan Knabe, Shamek Piatua, Yannick Lupien, Canada 3rd in this heat.
All right, that was our videotape, and good news for the Canadian swim team, both the Canadian men and the Canadian women qualifying in the 4x100 individual medley relay. We'll continue live from Sydney. We take a break. You're watching